Good evening and welcome to Select Board meeting of April 6, 2026, 6 p.m. in Room 3 of Town Hall. The first item on the agenda, gentlemen, is the signing of the warrant.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we sign the warrant, please.
I would second that, Mr. Chairman.
That is unanimous. The next item is approval of the regular session meeting minutes of March 23rd, 2026.
And a motion to approve the minutes of the regular session meeting of March 23rd, 2026.
And I would second that as well, Mr. Chairman.
And that's unanimous. This item is approval of the executive session minutes of March 19th, 2026.
Motion to approve executive session minutes from the March 19th, 2026.
And I would second that, Mr. Chairman.
And that is unanimous. Public hearings. The first item is Classic Crust of Milford, DBA Classic Pizza of Milford, common victual of wine and malt with cordials license.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Please feel free. Yeah, please come
sir.
forward. Thank you.
Thank you. My clients are on their way. They should be here just in a moment until we do. Do you want to?
We'll recall it. Yeah.
Okay, sure.
When they arrive, just give me a
I think
You
there's
got it.
one now.
Well, actually, look at the timing. Couldn't be better.
perfect timing.
Come right up.
Don't go blaming Milford traffic now.
Traffic, it was so much there.
We're going to mark you as absent.
Apologies.
Thanks.
Last time you were on the TV when I was here.
Yes.
And
Times I escaped.
right up there in front of you. Thank you.
Could you please introduce yourself?
Thank you. My name is Greg Matrakis. I'm counsel for the applicant through here, and introducing the other parties in place through here. To my immediate left, Costa Brego, and to his left, Sidney Rodriguez Filho. And we are applying for a beer, wine, and cordials license from the board. Briefly, a little bit about the business that he's operating down there, and then I can go into a little bit of background on them. If I might, I'll just approach you with a
Please.
menu. Show the operation.
Thanks.
Sure.
Can we order now?
I just had some of the steak tips not 15 minutes ago, and those are well worth getting, so, and I think you're open till 10.
Steak tips we take pride on.
Okay.
Pizza Chef used to be at this location for many, many years this way. That's the facility in which the business is being operated. Pizza Chef sold back around the first part of this year, and my client is, as you can see on the menu on through here, is operating a family-style restaurant, heavy on pizzas, grinders, Brazilian-style dishes that way, some seafood platters, salads, pastas, very much of a family-style restaurant that emphasizes, good value and good quality, to that. And they were of the opinion that good.
Replicating the one in Marlboro. We made it the same as
Yep. And he does have a classic pizza in Marlboro that's been there since 1995, right around the corner from my office, as a matter of fact. And similar menus, again, family-style restaurant to that effect. As he made mention, he's been in Marlboro since 1995, operating his business. He also has a license from the city of Marlboro for a beer and wine license. It's been 2-3 years. Is it 4 years? Well, time flies. And has operated that with absolutely no problems that way. He's tip certified. His business partner, Sidney here, I don't think is tip certified yet, but would become tip certified in the operation if the board saw due to grant the application.
Good.
Any questions, gentlemen?
I don't, Mr. Chairman. I reviewed the application, and I'm satisfied with that.
Everything is passed with no problem. I have no questions at all.
In reviewing just the various town departments that the licensing request, there are no issues from the building commissioner, the town planner, treasurer, collector, fire chief, police chief, or the Board of Health. And they've been off to a great start. I know that in town, so.
Thank you.
We've been welcomed in town. So
Well, most certainly you have. You just have to look at Facebook and you can see that. Michael, any questions?
I have no questions at all. Thank you.
Well, you're well represented by counsel. He spoke very, very well on your behalf.
Very good. Thank you for that.
Paul, if I could have a motion.
Yeah, sure, Mr. Chair. All paperwork is in order, like you mentioned, and there's no concerns from department heads. And I move that the Select Board approve the application of Classic Crust of Milford LLC, doing business as Classic Pizza of Milford, 179 to 181 Main Street, for a common victuals license, wine and malt beverage license with cordials, where Costa Regu would be the manager, and that's contingent upon compliance with all local, state, and local regulations.
I gladly second that, Mr. Chairman.
That is unanimous.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Good luck to you again.
Thank you.
Again,
Much
Make you
appreciate it.
guys proud. We're just waiting on the, if I might ask
Yes.
something. On the building department, for the signs to put, they pulled a permit, but they still haven't gotten an approval yet.
Is that something that comes to them, or is that just for the building department?
I
do you
think
know?
that's.
Yeah,
an-
you
Yeah.
That's- yeah,
I
that's-
should call
Yeah,
them.
that shouldn't be a problem, because we already had them
you
before.
won't get an approval on signs from us. You keep him happy and you don't have to deal with us at all.
Put the signs up. It's about time.
Great. Well,
It's when
thank you
he's
very
not
much.
happy that you deal with us.
We appreciate your efforts all the way through, too, as well. The communication's been excellent. You've got great staff in through here, so we much
hear.
appreciate that.
Thank
So,
you.
much obliged. Thank you very
Kind of
much.
you.
Thank you, Council.
Thank you.
Good luck to you.
Good night.
Good day.
Thank you, gentlemen. Did anyone else want to speak on that public hearing? I didn't ask. so.
For the same?
They didn't want to speak to that one, okay. The next item is National Grid, that's probably who's online.
Yeah.
Actually, the next two items are National Grid. First one's a location of a pole on Cedar Street. The second is a pole location on Depot Street, so we can probably just take those matters up at the same time while we have the person from National Grid with us.
Yep. Yeah, I'm on the call.
Hi, good afternoon. What can you tell us about, you want to start with Cedar Street or Depot, which is your pleasure?
Let's go with Depot. My name's Al Galvin, design engineer, National Grid, Hopedale office. Both jobs are more or less the same as far as our end goes. They're installing a new pole for a new recloser to basically cut down outage times, and it's a more automatic shut-off and isolation piece of equipment. So we can, if there's an outage on the line, on the feeder there at some point, it'll lock that out so it can be reinstated quicker and keep those outages short, and while also not impacting anyone else further down the line. So when they want to put these feeders out, these reclosers, they typically want a newer, large pole in a straight span with so it's fully supported and stable on the line, that type of thing. So in this particular case here, they after doing their research on the area and where the outages were affected and things of that nature, that spot there was where they determined was a good spot to put it.
Any questions, gentlemen?
Not many at all.
I don't, Mr. Chair.
Anyone else in the audience? No one. I see no one else online. There's no one else online. Do I have a motion?
A motion, Mr. Chair, seeing there is nobody in the audience that's having a comment or online, therefore I move the board to approve petition as presented and detailed in application materials before the board and presented by Mr. Al Gavin.
I would second that, Mr. Chairman.
And that's for both Cedar Street and Depot Street?
Yes.
That's correct.
And that's unanimous?
Yes, it is.
Thank you very much for zooming in.
Thank you, Al.
Appreciate it.
Have a good night.
Thank you. You too. Thank you.
Scheduled appointments, Finance Director, with regard to FY '27 budgets. Sure. Thank you. Fire and Police Chiefs are here as well, Deputy Chief from Fire as well.
Yes. See there, right.
Thank you.
Zach, I'll let you,
All right, great. Good
Lead
evening.
this
How we doing
discussion.
tonight?
Thank you.
Good, thank you, and yourself.
Very good, thank you. So last time I was here, I presented that we were going to have quite the challenging budget year, and it was. It's proven very true. We're still in the midst, but I'd like to report some good news that we seem to be on target, which again was quite difficult to get to. We tried targeting a 2.5% overall budget, which I assure you we have not done in quite some time now. So knew that was going to be difficult. I've been making the tours around town. I've been in front of the school committee a couple times. I've been in front of the water department, finance committee, obviously, you folks. Everyone's been understanding, not happy, nor am I, but certainly cooperative. And I had a fabulous conversation with the superintendent last week. I don't want to go into too much details because it hasn't been presented to the school committee yet, but let's just say if they go with the recommendation, we're going to be in pretty good shape. And that's a lot to do with these gentlemen here. So also other departments like Board of Health and whatnot, great job. They've looked at some programming. Eliminated what they could, again, out of necessity. It's one of those years where we had to have it, and people are really pulling together. So very happy and proud of that, and I'll turn it over to these gentlemen at this time.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, the board. So I gave you a summary of where we are, and I want to be cautious in how I talk about this because it's really not a budget cut, so to speak, right? We're still increasing the budget by 3%. We're just saying within the parameters. Overall, it ends up being a cut because where we need to be in order to continue our operation the way we have been, we need more money, all right? So we're going to maintain the 3%, but that's going to result in operational changes for us. So that's why I just want to be careful in how we state our budget's being cut. We know what we need, we know what we're going to have, and we know what the result is. And that's pretty much, a long story short. So the increase for us, salaries alone, is 8%. Right? So it's an 8% increase. I have to cover that. It's contractual. Where I'm going to take from is overtime, because overtime's kind of fluid, and we have some flexibility there. We're also going to maintain 2 open positions, so we're not going to fill 2 firefighter positions. Those are not salary cuts. Those are taking those salaries and moving them to overtime to lessen the blow in losing the overtime. Where we all gain as a team is the reduction in benefits. So 2 firefighter positions, we're not paying health insurance and the other benefits that you'd have to pay. So, it gets a little confusing. We wanted to keep those 2 positions funded so we didn't lose them, because we believe in the future we're going to get those positions back. But for now, we want to eliminate the benefits of 2 positions. So it ends up being a net, a gain for the budget, all right? The overtime has to be cut, and, we look at how our shifts run, right? We have 10-hour days and 14-hour nights. Our days are typically busier than our nights. So what we're looking to do is to, from the beginning of the fiscal year, cut back on 1 firefighter in our staffing. The downside to that is the loss of 2 people on the ladder truck. That's been an outstanding improvement. I can't overstate how great, it's been. You supporting our budget, the fire department staffing, we saw great progress, really great progress. And we think that's going to come back, but we know we're going to have a couple bumpy years. We're going to have to eliminate that in the overnight. The trickle down to that is that I don't cross-staff that second rescue truck. We'll just run an engine on medicals from Birch Street. So it's kind of like Well, you're only cutting back one person. It's a huge deal. Like I said, I can't overstate it. You know, we had a fire a couple weeks ago on Midway Road. You may have heard about it. At that time, we had two medicals that happened. We had a medical that happened about 8:31 at night, 8:32, second medical, 8:34 was the fire. So there was a medical in District 2, medical in District 1. First due pumping truck was the ladder truck with two people. And they did a phenomenal job in knocking down, I'd say, 80% of the fire with that one truck and basically two people. Same scenario, we're down to one person on that truck. We're not going to get the same result. I'm surprised we got the result with two people, to be quite honest with you. They did, a phenomenal job. But this is what the trickle down is going to be. Our last 5 fires, we've had split squads. If you go back to the fire on Main Street, Bird Street was on the highway in Bellingham at a vehicle accident and when that fire came in. So the squad is split. We have half a squad, basically, half a shift. And you wait for recalled personnel, and you wait for mutual aid, and that's how we operate. Cedar Street, another fire where we had a split squad. The ladder truck was mutual aid on a call, and we had waiting for recall to come back to the station, and we get a fire. That's just the way it happens, We learn to deal with it. We work to the best of our ability in those situations, but I just want to make sure that that we'll be a little shorter than what we've been. But we really appreciate the support with the budget. When I took over in 2020, I think our overtime was under $500,000 a year, and now we're over 1.1 million. So that's through the support of you in helping us to grow and helping us to staff more properly. But we know, as with the financial team, we know that we have to dial it back a little bit, and so we're going to do that.
If I may, real quick. So the budgets, as you see presented from these gentlemen, is not the first round, wasn't the second round, in some cases the fourth round. So again, I know it's painful, but they've really come together here, and I hope this can work.
Yeah, I think that, just what the chief said with regard to the fire department, we're not talking about, the term cuts. We're not cutting the budget from where it is today, but we are cutting services from where they are today. So this is not level service. And I think, as you indicated, it's not that the need for 2 firefighters on the ladder truck has been diminished over time. In fact, it's increased. And the evidence is there from the point where we had 2 on the ladder truck, the impact that they can have. As you know, it's something that I have focused on. It's a very real concern for me. And I'm still concerned, and I just want to state that I think that myself and my colleagues, I think we, at the point where we're able to, even if it's midterm on the budget, to bring back that second firefighter onto that truck, I think we should do it. I hope people appreciate that you arrive with a ladder truck, one person can't put down, the stabilizers to stabilize that truck to use the ladder. And then, as you indicated, that truck operates as well as a pumper. So now we expect that person not only to put the stabilizers down, they have to pull hose and start to connect to a hydrant. You're asking one person to do the impossible. And while they're doing the impossible as best they can, the fire's still there, and so even their ability to use the ladder, say, to rescue people, it's really, people have to appreciate that it just doesn't happen. It takes manpower, it takes people power to accomplish that. So that is a concern for me. to reduce the number of firefighters on that particular truck. I understand where you spoke about the rescue, you know, and can we work, you know, because we do work in tandem with the EMS professionals. So, you know, there is some give and take there. And I think mutual aid is a lot more fluid there in the sense that you can get an ambulance a lot quicker from a neighboring community than to move fire apparatus from a neighboring community. Just the size of the equipment. That speaks to it. And then they have to backfill as well. With the ambulance, just my sense of things, from my experience, I just think it's a much easier protocol to accomplish. So I am concerned about reducing the number of firefighters, and that's why I really respect you holding those positions, even if you're doing it as a place card, so that the funding impact is coming off of the kind of so-called extras, the benefits, you know, whether they be health care or other benefits. But I, for one, just think that that should be one of the top priorities, that if there is any give as we move through the process, that's something that I think is really, truly in the public safety interest.
I was going to say, I agree, Mr. Chair. You know, like I said, I've been through this several times with ups and downs of our budget. Next year will be 50 years, and I've seen it come and go, and like I said, we're in a very challenging budget cycle that I've ever seen in years to come, but public safety has to be a priority as well. I remember when we were going over our budget with the Board of Health. Of course, we have to honor contractual obligations, and like, for instance, if rubbish went up 5% instead of 2 or 3%, we'd have to find a way to cut that extra 2% from our budget in order for it to meet that. But that was rubbish. You know, this is public safety, and I agree with Chairman O'Laughlin just said too. I mean, it is the most challenging times that we're ever experiencing, but we can't put people's lives and health and safety in jeopardy too, over really, when you come right down to it, a few extra dollars when it comes right down to the entire budget. So I definitely agree with that, and I appreciate the work you and the police and also Zach did to make this budget work to the best.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I guess the first word I think of is discouraging. I look at the progress that we made over the last year in both departments, and as the chairman said, you know, we're not cutting the budget, but, you know, we're cutting services that we made a step forward, you know, that really need to be done on a daily basis. And when I saw that, you know, if you go back and you look at what we watch on the news in the last year, situations where personnel was added after there was a catastrophic condition. And I've always said, let's be proactive and not reactive. And now I feel like, and I understand it's necessary, but now I feel like we're back in the position where we're going to be reactive instead of proactive. Instead of having the two men on the fire, I should say two firefighters on the ladder truck, which we determined that, by your recommendation, thank you, was very necessary. Personally, I couldn't understand how you run that truck with one person, but now because of budget, you know, the coming in the way that it is from the state, from the federal government, we're forced to do what we have to do, and makes me very nervous. And to the chairman's point, thank you for not cutting the budgeting of those positions, so that as we go through the year, hopefully things may change a little bit and we can make a shift. Not promising anything to anybody, but hopefully that we'll be able to look at it again, maybe down the road. But also the message that I think we need to send is, and I'm not trying to prioritize one board over another, having the financial director here with us tonight. To the other boards, I'd like to say, this is a very difficult stance that we've taken with public safety. And as we all know, it's critical. It's critical with what goes on in the community. Everybody else has got to come in with the same mindset. It's going to be uncomfortable, but you have to figure out a way to get it done for now, because these are the cards that we're dealt. And again, I want to commend, the both of you, and I know Chief Tassino, you're going to present yours in a second. And I know it didn't happen in one sitting. I know that. And I know there was a lot of frustration, but thank you for being able to work it out. I know it's going to be difficult. And I can assure you that the three of us are here to help in any way that we can. We can. But like I said, it's just discouraging because I really felt we were making forward progress to get to where we needed to get to provide services, level services that, are needed to run the equipment and run the departments that we have. So hopefully, we can revisit it and get back to where we are and to, Selectman Mazzucchelli's point, having been around for a few years, have been through budget cycles. We've been through this before, and it's hard when it happens, and hopefully it'll turn around soon. But again, thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, I mean, I manage budgets where I lost positions and the rest, but, the two largest budgets on the municipal side of the ledger. And that's, how much can you cut from a department that consists of 3 people? That you need the 3 people to perform that function. So you folks are going to take the larger hit, and the greatest proportion of your budget is people.
Yes.
So, we know that's where the hits are going to take place. But, as has been mentioned, and we're following the cue of the finance director, he's been great in providing us with up-to-date information as he receives it. But, the cuts are at the state level. That's where they're coming from. The state legislature has prioritized monies elsewhere. So as a result, the communities, and we're not the only community. You only have to go onto social media and you can see town after town, whether it be overrides, debt exclusions, and frankly, just battles, financial battles. They're there every single day. I was pulling different articles and et cetera and sending them off to Zach, and I just gave up. I stopped because all I was doing was, sending him information, one, that he was aware of, and, the sense of misery likes company, it doesn't. So I stopped sending my newspaper articles and other information to Zach Taylor. I'll send it to the rest of you, though. Chief Tassino.
Yeah, good evening, thank you. First I want to thank, Zach Taylor and his team. Certainly, I'm no financial wizard, that's not my forte. But I know that when I'm told we have to make some cuts and we have to, as Selectwoman Walsh said, it's really not cuts, it's realignment. And if you remember when I sat, I think it was in this very seat for my interview for chief, I said, it was, the chairman said, well, Zach's telling you got to cut money, where's it coming from? What did I say? Vehicles. Vehicles and maintenance, I'm lucky I have such a core group of men and women that understand this and that'll work with us. So we did some movement with Zach, we did some things for our car allotment. The increases in the budget are strictly contractual. That's it. Not a dime went anywhere else. And, I'm here to tell you, and I know you appreciate this, it's going to be a problem. It's going to be a big problem. But we'll get through it. It's, not something, I guess the comforting thing about it, the warm blanket is, like the chairman said, pick up the paper, watch the news. It's everywhere. This is not a Milford problem. This is a problem across the country with funding and grants. Now, we have a lot of other grants out there, and if they come in, that's great. But if they don't, I can't rely on grants to run the department. We do things at the PD. I had a good teacher. We break things down. This will look familiar to the chairman. We break things down weekly at the police department. I run the budget every single week, from rubber gloves to payroll to overtime. It gets done every week, and you know, my admin, Jean Davern, I wouldn't be able to do it without her, relentless. Doesn't matter if somebody's on vacation, we run every penny every week. And it's gonna be tough for us, because the unforeseen is the overtime. You know, the unforeseen is the overtime. And I know I can speak for the fire chief. I mean, you wanna guarantee us that we're not gonna have a major incident? Where do I sign up for that? But we don't. And, you know, those things are costly. They're costly in personnel hours, they're costly in damage to equipment, life expectancy. You know, I have an article this year for tasers, to get back into the taser redoing things. And I think it was, you know, the chairman, Chief O'Loughlin at the time, that got taser to agree to a 5-year plan. Well, they don't do that anymore. Taser doesn't do that anymore. And then I broke it down to the finest number, saying I'm not even going to commit to the total contract. I'm only going to commit year to year pending on approval. And the rep from Taser was like, are you kidding? I'm not kidding. This is the way we're doing it. Well, you can't do business with us. So thankfully, they're keeping the relationship. And I know the town meeting members, I'll explain to them how important Taser is. But it's an article. And we've whittled it down to literally the dime, and we're going to pass that on over the next couple of years with trading in our tasers and getting the trade-in value. But, you know, overtime is going to be a problem, and, you know, we'll work on it. I'm worried about gas. I mean, look, you don't have to be, you know, Zach Taylor to know that gas is going to croak us moving forward, the price of gas. So we keep running it week to week. And, you know, like, you know, the chairman was talking about and Mr. Walsh was talking about, they're not cuts, but I've said this before over and over again, Milford could easily have another 4 or 5 officers on the street. I mean, I'm inundated with correspondence about traffic. You know, like I tell everybody, I can probably guarantee with some certainty that everybody in this room isn't going to get into a shootout. But I can't guarantee you're not going to get T-boned by a reckless driver. And I'll guarantee that the more you drive, the more likely you are. You know, like my father used to say to me, you're paying for insurance betting on you're going to get into a car accident. They're betting you're not. So we need to do more with that. And when I, you know, have officers deployed in the neighborhood and they're doing traffic enforcement and it's answering the community's need, but then I get a phone call, they're like, Chief, they were here for 10 minutes and they left. Well, that's because they had to go to a domestic. That's because they had to go do this. You know? So we put it on the back burner, you know, a traffic enforcement unit, and that's okay. You know, we put that extra SRO. How many years have we been trying to get the SRO, right? A third SRO. The 2 SROs I got, they, you know, another, my father phrase, a one-armed wallpaper hanger. Very busy, the 2 of them. We need a third. And I know that the school department, you know, understands that, and they'd be like, yeah, we'd support that in a second, Chief. So not adding these things now, taking a moment of pause, not increasing these other things we need, that is, lack of a better word, cuts. And, you know, I like Zach Taylor said, how many phone calls back and forth, you and I?
Quite a few.
Yeah, quite a few. You know, Robbie, come down and see me. We got to sharpen the pencil with this. We got to do this, we do that. Okay, well, let's get into it. But that's where we are, and like I said, the only increases are contractual. Everything else, believe it or not, is zero. It actually, on the bottom line, if you calculate, it's less than zero. We subtracted. So that's good fiscal sense in a tough time. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
And looking at your budget, you know, the number of items, and you touched on gasoline, but right across the board, at a level funded. And many of those, as far as purchasing power goes, are affected by gasoline. You know, those vendors, they're going to increase their prices. You can see it now out in just the regular market, you know, whether it be Amazon, for instance, putting a surcharge. And I think the U.S. Postal Service is putting a surcharge. So I think that you're in the same position where, you know, you're in the 90 percentile as far as personal services, meaning you're personnel people make up your budget. You indicated the bulk of it is related to contractual agreements. So I applaud you. I think you did a great job in working with Zach. Come in at 3%. I know it's not easy. Been there, and I appreciate also that I know the fire chief is always, his predecessors, going back to John Toohey, was, a budget guru. John was real good, and I think that after him, his brother Bill and then Mark have picked up that mantle as far as managing a budget. I knew that you were doing the weekly, because that's what I did. I broke that budget down every single week to make sure that I was living within the budget. And the net result is you'll end up doing that for many, many years. I'm grateful that taxpayers trusted me with the amount of money that they did to provide the service, and I respected that, and I know you do. So I'm happy to see that you're still knocking on the 1 week, every week.
Every week, yep,
What are you doing?
every week.
Because it's the only way you come out at the other end. As you should, because you can't overspend a municipal budget, so. But Zach, anything, gentlemen?
Just
you-
final
anything-
comment as it relates to these gentlemen here. As Chief Tessino mentioned, like, you never know if you do have that major incident. So I tell them, and I just want to reassure that I'm serious about it, that if that happens, you do what you got to do. Leave the financing to me to figure out. So I don't want to muzzle to that level. So if something happens, they're the professionals that are on the beat taking care of it. And if it results in some kind of budget overage, I will figure it out. So I want them to know that I got their back.
Yeah, and I think that, you can't plan for, if we planned for the sky is falling, these budgets would be 4 times what they are. And we would just bring in money back that we didn't have to use. So you're gonna hit those extraordinary circumstances, and that's the nature of the beast. But you still have to work as best you can. It's not, oh, geez, I spent, on a homicide, you're going to spend $40,000. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So it's not just, I spent $40,000, let me go back to Zach and say, give me the $40K. As the chief said, that's part of working that budget every single week and making sure, because potentially you might recover from that deficit, properly managing it. And you might end up where you need some funding to come back. And, in the case of fire, it was, every time they were lighting the wooded areas, the cycle of dollars is just swinging.
Yes.
These guys have no control over whether someone's going to go out there 2 days later and light another fire. So hopefully that won't be happening. Zach, you've done a fantastic job. I think just keeping everybody else, everybody on the same page, to include us. So that's much appreciated. Paul, would you like to offer?
Yeah, just as all 3 gentlemen, Zach, first of all, for keeping us in the loop of a realistic picture that we're facing, and that was, you did an excellent job, and also the 2 chiefs, too. You're more or less dealing in difficult times with rising costs, limited growth for taxes and whatnot, and you're doing the best you can, and we appreciate that, and I'm glad to hear what Zach said, too. If you ever do come into a situation where it's an emergency and a dire need, we're there to help you, really. And again, thank you for doing what you're doing, and all your credit to our town, and we appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Chief, thank you very much for your comment on patrol. I was thinking, no matter where I am in the community, whether the church, the grocery store, Main Street, probably the number one, even emails, correspondence that I get from people is, well, they were in my neighborhood and they were watching that stop sign that we asked, or the traffic at the intersection of 109 and 16, the cruiser was there, and 10 minutes later, he was gone. And I tried to explain to them, well, that's because it's just like going to the hospital. They're triaging calls, and something comes in, and they got to respond to it. And almost always, the next response from the citizen, and I don't mean this in a cruel way, why don't we just put somebody else on? And this is an example of decisions that are made that are very difficult, because it's not as easy as just putting somebody on. It's not, and I want people to understand that, calls are being triaged, and when we get into situations like this, it makes it even more difficult, because we're looking at overtime, and we're looking how many people on a shift, and so, I want to commend you, for that, and I want people to understand that we're going to do everything we can to provide the utmost service, but the stop sign probably is going to move back a little farther, and the traffic on Route 16, I'll be honest with you, it's been like that since I arrived 40 years ago, but it's going to stay, and you just be patient with us, because there are calls that are coming in, and as the chairman said, and some of them, the serious calls, we can't predict them. And so when they happen, we've all got to work together to get through these difficult times. So thank you very much. And to you, Zach, and to Chris, who's sitting back there, the people that handle the finances, thank you very, very much, because this is only the beginning. And I'm not a downer. I try to be positive all the time, but this is only the beginning. And if we can get over this hump and get into the new fiscal year, let's hope the sun will get a little brighter. But again, I want to say thank you to everybody involved in this process. Thank you very much.
I have a motion to approve and support the police and fire budgets.
Motion, Mr. Chair, to approve and support the fire and police budget.
And Mr. Chairman, I would gladly second that, and thank you again to everybody.
That's unanimous.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank you.
Good to see you.
Thank you, sir.
All right, good to see you.
Thanks.
Next item on the agenda is the town administrator's report. He's on a well-deserved vacation, so there'll be no town administrator's report this evening. Old business, gentlemen, do you have any old business you'd like to raise?
I do not, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, gentlemen. New business, the first item on new business is Dunkin' Donuts at 31 Main Street. An amendment to the common victual license, a change of hours. And could you state your name, please?
Yeah, my name is Raj Patel. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Tell
So we
let
have,
the audience know what you're trying to accomplish.
sure, so me and my family own this location from December 2020. It's been a little bit over 5 years now. And our family owns multiple locations of Dunkin' Donuts, including 4 in Milford, which is 31 Main Street, 146 South Main, 350 East, and then 35 Medway Road. All 4 belong to us, my family. On top of being in Milford, we are present in Framingham, Ashland, Natick, Sherburne, Hopkinton, East Boston, Revere, Winthrop, Cambridge, Somerville, and Salem, Massachusetts, a total of 26 Dunkin' locations that we own. We have made improvements over the time whenever it's needed, whenever it's called by the first responders, medical staff, people who work through the night, and early risers too, especially construction company, or anybody present in the population or in the community who needs coffee and beverage and food services during the night or early morning time too. We have made a lot of improvements to all 4 locations in Milford. In the last 5 years, we have renovated all 4 locations, and with a total spending of a little over $2 million for total 4 locations to make the services available, and investing with the new equipment and bringing up to the standard of Dunkin' Donuts. The time when we acquired these stores was end of December 2020, so that was during the COVID-19 era timing. Of course, every business had struggled with operating hours, operating payroll, staff, meeting the demands, meeting the budget. But then as time improved, we saw a tremendous increase in the demand, tremendous increase in the traffic in the area. And over the past few months, especially last 1.5 years, we have seen a huge upwards growth in the sales and the demand in the area. And also we have direct requests from the neighbors, from the first responders, from the medical staff that we need something that is available during late night and early morning as well. Our current operation hours for this Main Street is between 4:30 a.m. in the morning till 10 p.m. right now. Current closing time is 10 p.m. But then since we have been having requests from the community, from the citizens, that we need services more for the extended time, we would love to entertain their request, and we would be willing to operate this 24 hours. But the overnight hours starting from 10 p.m. till 4:30 a.m. in the morning will be drive-through only, because we want to keep the noise in our mind, that we don't want to keep operating with all the foot traffic and everything going into the stores and making noise or something. So if approved by the board, we would like to make this operation 24 hours, but that would be drive-through only between 10 p.m. till 4:30 a.m. in the morning.
Mr. Mazzucchelli.
I was going to ask to Mr. Patel, thank you, Mr. Chair. Out of the other locations that you have, do you have the same type of setup from 10 p.m. to 4:30 a.m. in those two as well, or at least some of them?
Not in Milford, sir?
Right, no.
Yes,
But in other ones?
Yes, we have one store in East Boston, which is 951 Bennington Street, which is about 5 minutes drive from the Boston airport. We have the same request going on, and we have a hearing tomorrow as well for that.
Okay.
So since the Dunkin' Donuts locations, many of them used to be 24 hours before COVID era, but during COVID, because of the demand being declined, the stores were asked to not operate 24 hours because the franchisor and the franchisees were having problems supporting the payroll because of the stores not being busy overnight because of COVID-19 era. But since now we are almost out of it, and the business and the demand is increasing in almost every town, we have been going back to the Dunkin' franchisee, and they're supporting that we are willing to take up that initiative to make it 24 hours. So out of all our 26 stores, this is the first one we're going to request, and the second one lined up is one in the East Boston area.
And do you have any, like, plans in case, for instance, when I was a kid, I remember my dad used to say, make sure you're home early because nothing good happens after 12, after midnight. And, I was going to say from 10 to 4:30. Like I said, is there some plans you have? Because sometimes you may get some, people out there who, were going to act up, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
So also, all for our Milford locations, more than 50% of our staff are local. And we are proud to say that we support local growth. We support local employments. People aged from, let's say, 19 to people aged at 55, they work in our Dunkins. They are Milford locals. So we want to make sure we are a safe environment for people who are in Milford, and also for the surrounding towns who drive and work at our place. But also for the contingency plan, we rely heavily on the emergency services around in the area. But over the 5 years of period, we have never had an incident where we had to go extravagant, involved with police or fire or something. So we are lucky with the God's blessings that we have been able to keep everything quiet and operationally smooth. There might be instances of people messing up with the bathroom or this or damages or stuff, but since this will be drive-through only, nobody will be permitted to enter the premises after 10 p.m. until 4:30 in the morning.
Very good. Thank you. I'm satisfied with that. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair. Mr. Patel, for clarity, do you have 3 locations in Milford or 4?
4.
Where's the 4?
31 Main Street, 350 East Main Street, the plaza with the solar canopy,
Oh,
the
I'm
big one.
sorry. Yes,
The Goldfish, I think the swim school is there. Then there is 146 South Main by the Rockland Trust, the Riverside Gas, and the Dollar Tree.
Correct.
And then the 35 Medway Road, right next to the Valvoline.
Gotcha.
The oil changing location.
Okay, and according to your application, and all the department heads, including the police chief as well, everybody has signed off and approved. Nobody has any objections to your request. So again, for clarity for people who are watching right now, really all you're trying to do is run the drive-throughs from the 10 p.m. to the 4:30 a.m. in the morning. Then the restaurants will or I should say the facilities will
Open the doors again at 4:30
at 4:30. So they're currently open at 4:30 right now or
Correct.
5:30?
the doors open at 4:30 a.m.
4:30,
So we
okay.
have crew coming in at 3:30 to meet the baking needs because they have to prepare the bagels and croissants and make the coffee and everything. So the crew starts at 3:30, but the doors are closed for the customers. And then at 4:30, everything's baked, prepped, and ready to serve to the customer. So we open the doors at 4:30. So our first customer could come in at 4:30 a.m., either walk in or use the drive-through to get their products.
Okay, so again, for clarity, really the only change is you're looking to run the drive-throughs on all 4 locations from 10 PM till 4:30 in the morning.
No, sir, it's just for the one location.
Oh, just the one, okay, that's what I'm saying.
Just 31
clarity,
Main Street.
very-
Yes, sir. The other 3 locations will operate normally. They're not going to be operating overnight,
So the
just
one
for this
location
one.
is right
Yes,
here.
sir. Yes, sir.
Right across from town, okay. Right on Main Street.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Do I have a motion?
Motion, Mr. Chair. I move that the board approve the request of Main Street Donuts LLC, doing business as Dunkin', to amend the common victuals license to permit a drive-through only operations between the hours of 10 PM to 4:30 AM.
I would second that, Mr. Chairman.
That's unanimous.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a question. What would be the next step? To reach out to the licensing or,
Just the town administrator's office, and
Okay.
they'll reissue your hours to you.
got it. And then when does this become effective?
It just did.
Just did-
Okay,
Just
ma'am.
did.
Okay, thank you.
You wanna do it
Thank you
tonight?
very much.
All set.
Welcome.
All right.
I'll see you at 3 AM.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's nice to see someone's up when I am.
Don't wait for me at 4:30.
Yeah,
Anything we could.
I'll be looking for you.
Thank you. Anything we could bring to the team members over here for this week for donation? Coffee, donuts, bagels, croissants, let us know.
Fire and police.
Fire and police, yeah, and legal,
Just to all the-
Brian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know that.
and engineering.
Thank you very much, Mr. Patel.
Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is from the town administrator. He sent us the annual town meeting warrant seeking the board's approval. I know that we've had an opportunity to work our way through.
Yeah, I see it.
The annual town meeting warrant, which is the agenda for town meeting. Do you have any questions, gentlemen?
Do not.
Do not, Mr. Chair.
I have a motion.
Yeah, motion, sure. I move that the select board approve and execute the May annual town meeting warrant as presented.
I would second that, Mr. Chairman.
That is unanimous. Next item on the agenda is the Greater Milford Community Chorus acceptance of a gift from Leonard and Catherine Adirola. It's a donation of $200, which is very generous to the Greater Milford Community Chorus. The funds do go through the town. Do I have a motion?
A motion to accept the donation from Leonard and Catherine Iderola for the Greater Milford Community Chorus of $200.
And I would second that, Mr. Chairman.
That is unanimous. Next item on the agenda is the Commission on Disability resignation from Rhonda Crosby, who served for 8 years on the commission. Do I have a motion to accept?
Motion to accept Rhonda Crosby's resignation from the Commission of Disability, and we appreciate and thank her for her 8 years of service to this commission, too.
And I would second that, Mr. Chairman.
That is unanimous.
We'll get a letter out thanking her.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Next item is the Youth Commission, a resignation from William Farrell. Bill has served on that, I can't remember the number of years, because I remember appointing Will Farrell to the commission. In any event, do I have a motion to accept?
Yes, Mr. Chair, a motion to accept William Farrell's resignation from the Milford Youth Center Commission.
I would second that, Mr. Chairman.
That is unanimous. He indicated that he enjoyed his time. He said it would be an understatement that he certainly enjoyed his time.
Right.
I know that he was of great help and benefit to the Youth Commission. And if we could just flag for Rick Valani as well to send him a thank you note. Invitation to speak. I see no one in the audience, invitation to speak. There's no one online, I'm being told, for invitation to speak. Correspondence, gentlemen?
I don't have any, Mr.
I
Chairman.
don't have any, Mr. Chairman.
Nor do I. The last item is executive session. We do have an executive session. We will be going into executive session to meet with the treasurer collector concerning tax title foreclosure property taken in May of 2024, and consider the sale of town-owned property, real estate, and assets. Both of those matters reasonably anticipated to be discussed at this meeting, and that public disclosure, at this point in time, may be detrimental to the town's interests. Do I have a motion to go into executive session?
Motion, Mr. Chair, executive session.
I would second that, Mr. Chairman.
That is unanimous. Roll call.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, and again, that's unanimous. We are in executive session.